goodbye, no farewell letter, no final stage. Just one sentence, delivered quietly, that changed everything. It will be difficult for you to continue with NewJeans. And in that moment, one of the most carefully built stories in K-pop cracked wide open. For months, fans sensed something was wrong. Schedules froze, statements contradicted each other, silence grew louder than any comeback announcement. Then, on December 29th, the tension finally broke. Adore confirmed what no one wanted to believe. Daniel's exclusive contract had been terminated. Not paused, not disputed, ended. But that was only the first twist, because this wasn't a quiet separation. Adore immediately revealed it would pursue legal responsibility, not only from Daniel, but also from his family and former CEO Min Hee-jin. The amount? 431 billion won. An almost unimaginable figure, instantly turning a contract issue into what many are calling the largest legal confrontation the K-pop industry has ever faced. So how did a group once celebrated for unity reach this point? According to Adore, everything traces back to what happened after the court ruled that the members' exclusive contracts were still valid. Behind the scenes, the company entered long, intense discussions with the members and their families, trying to repair what had already fractured. One member returned to Korea with her family. Hours of conversation, careful reflection, and then a decision that surprised many. Hani chose to accept the court's ruling and remain with Adore. Minzy remains in discussion. Nothing is final. But Daniel's case, Adore says, was different. The company concluded that continuing together was no longer possible, either as a member of NewJeans or as an artist under Adore. That decision closed one door and opened several others. Because Adore didn't stop at termination. They claimed the members had been exposed to distorted and biased information over an extended period, information that fueled misunderstandings, mistrust, and ultimately rebellion against the company. In other words, this wasn't just about contracts being broken, it was about reality itself being rewritten, depending on who was telling the story. Both sides now agree on one painful truth. Winning back public trust won't be quick. Adore has even suggested that there may be a future moment when every controversy, every rumor, every decision will be laid out publicly. But for now, that truth remains locked behind legal walls, and the courtroom is where the story grows darker. The damages lawsuit filed by Adore has been assigned to the same civil court handling the explosive stock dispute between Min Hee-jin and Hybe. This means the outcomes could be deeply intertwined. At the center is a bitter conflict over shareholder agreements, stock options, and allegations of attempting to remove NewJeans from Hybe's control altogether. Each side insists they were protecting the artists. Each side claims betrayal. Only the court will decide which version survives. What makes this situation especially haunting is what came before. Before court filings, before termination notices, before billion-won lawsuits. There were songs that defined a generation, stages filled with laughter, a group that felt untouchable. When Min Hee-jin was removed, the members publicly asked for her return. When that request failed, they declared their contracts terminated last November. Adore responded by taking the matter to court and won the initial ruling. From that moment on, the ending was no longer written on a stage. It was written in legal documents. Now Adore says it will do everything possible to resolve the situation amicably and bring NewJeans back to fans as soon as possible. But one thing is already clear. NewJeans has crossed a line that can't be undone. Daniel's exit isn't just a departure, it's a fracture point. A moment that will be studied, debated, and remembered long after the headlines fade. This isn't just a lawsuit. It's a cautionary tale about power, influence, trust, and what happens when belief turns into conflict. And as the industry waits for the next ruling, the real question isn't who wins in court. It's who survives when the music starts again.